can.
Go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Chop Sports, not the daily, but it's the every other day. And we got ourselves a Victory Monday here. I got myself. We got sad Sturch. Can't handle a loss like a man. Now he's handling it pretty well. I'm impressed. We're coming from the Chop Studios with the Cabinet Creation Sports Desk, and David's too sad to talk today because
I don't have a voice. No, we are coming to you live from Richard Lucas Chevrolet and Subaru Studios here in Matawan, New Jersey. Cabinet Creation Sports Desk. I try to give him a chance to run the show.
Gives me a chance
with 8 seconds to spare. I'm like, hey, by the way, bring the show in.
Okay,
yeah. So good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great morning out there. Sad Sturch along with Victory Gooch here on a Monday morning. Wrestling Rob is behind the glass. A5 is in the building. And of course, commenting first would be Ashley, who's sitting 4 feet away from Chris right now. So that's cool. It's just gang up on Sturch Day today. It just feels wrong. I already did a Mojo market report this morning. That was fun. So I got some of the burn out of me. But we obviously that show is more player based, and we talk about the Christian Watson and we talk about everybody that went off in that game. We'll get into that in a couple minutes. So thank you guys for joining us here on a Football Monday. Also, if you want to support Chop Sports, do so by heading on over to patreon.com right now and sign up to be a Patreon member for Chop Sports. There's a $3, $5, and a $10 variation. That's how to get involved. And of course, I myself was informed on Saturday when your boy went live with a card break again, and I won a bunch of Nick stuff because I paid $5. Bro, $5 got me some sweet Knicks cards. I'm telling you right now, I didn't expect. There was one pack. There was like 7 Knicks in one pack. It was really good.
Yep, I watched. I wasn't there for it, but I did watch. Shout out to Joe.
Shout out to Joe for being able to just come in here, hold down the fort, do his thing, and get out and clean it. As
the new setup in the other room was very. It worked well.
Was it in our office?
In the office.
Oh, that's right. He panned around.
It was a nice little setup, so we got that going on.
Yeah,
and there is a break on Thursday, the triple men break. We're looking to fill it up. There's 6 or 7 spots left. I'm not exactly sure.
Have you determined how you're going to do it?
We're going to go on YouTube. We're going to figure all that out. So it's going to be one of the good ones. We have the overtime. We have the room prize, all that good stuff. So Thursday night, I'm not exactly sure the time, but it'll be before the game, obviously. And then I'm excited about it. These are the ones that we have the most fun with. So everybody tune in, and there is spots available. So guys, if you want in on the break, there is still 6 or 7 spots. Hit us up.
And sorry, Bailey, since I'll probably be here, the Cowboys are mine. So once I pull a Dak Prescott and I sell that bitch on eBay right back, we'll do that too. So definitely follow the break
Bailey
buds.
Here? I haven't seen Bailey.
No, I haven't seen Bailey yet. I'm sure he's around here somewhere. Good morning to Mike. Good morning to Joe. He's in the building. Scoop is in the building. It's what sport is for the break? Football?
It's football.
Beautiful. Thank God.
Football.
It's not that I'm against the basketball because I do like basketball, but I just, the football stuff.
Football is much better.
We've
had an internal discussion at the Break Buds last night, and we're going to try and do a little more football product while we have the time, because there's plenty of time for basketball when the season ends.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be looking for shit to talk about once
we're going to go football heavy from here on.
Speaking of football being over, it's over. Before we get there, let's get into it. I know you don't have a rundown, but
I have some stuff.
I did want to talk I wanted to touch a little bit, and obviously, look, we're small peanuts. It's not like I'm reaching a million people out there, but our thoughts and prayers to the entire family of Rumble Johnson, man. That was a large loss in the world of MMA over the weekend. That was real sad because it hits home because of the fact that 38 years
young
old
guy,
bro, young man,
terrible spot to be in. Obviously, the Rumble Johnson, how it went down, very tragic, because he was fighting as of May 2021. He won. He fought in Bellator. He won. He entered the heavyweight Grand Prix. A week before his fight, he got pulled out due to health concerns, and from there it went downhill. Prayers up to Rumble Johnson. Keeping it in MMA, though, obviously that's terrible news that broke on Sunday. But Saturday night we had ourselves a banger of a card.
And did you go?
Yeah.
You were there. I saw his story, bro.
How did you not mention that?
How do you not, like, the whole week you're with us and you don't mention that you're going?
That's amazing.
That's pretty dope.
That is an amazing pull by you. I'm proud of you. Now, are you an MMA guy, or is this just like kind of a whim?
Watching last year.
All right, so yes, you could say you're an MMA guy because a lot of people have just started watching. But
He's a casual, Dave.
That's fine. Casual fans in MMA are what is the bread and butter in terms of what we want.
Yeah,
MMA
all of
to
a sudden,
turn
I'm
into.
just scrolling the stories and I see him. I'm like, that's a pretty cool.
Where were your seats?
Motherfucker, is he there?
We were section 119, row
119, bro. He's down there.
116, row 9. So we were like, there's like the
116.
He was at the
row
entrance,
9.
bro. The entrance
dope
was
spot,
dope
dope seat
man.
to be in.
Yeah.
Did you pay?
Wow, so he went for free. Look at that, man.
I was going to say,
free.com is the way to do it.
Pay
Yes, it was a great.
Have to pay for that seat. Do you know?
Great card.
They were actually gifted to a company that was gifted to my cousin who couldn't go.
That is so
Okay.
amazing.
Company corporate tickets. I see how that works. Yes, let's hook up
Company
with
that.
the
No,
cousin.
yeah, that is a dope thing. Congrats to Ant, but more congrats to that monster of a middleweight, Pereira, Alex Pereira. Look, he got dominated, I thought, the entire fight, but he left just enough in the tank to empty it. And when you empty the clip and you have knockout power, you see what happens.
Bro,
I like the way Adesanya handled the loss.
Adesanya was just like in slow. It was like, I was like, oh my God, he's getting lit up.
I do think it was they probably should have let that fight continue. I don't agree.
I heard a lot of early stoppage.
I don't agree with the stoppage,
that.
but I also agree that Adesanya handled it well. He said, I don't agree. That's my ego talking. You know, if I was the one that was winning that
He'll
way,
thank that referee in 10 years.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yes, maybe.
You know what I'm saying? There's just a little bit less damage to the dome.
I think he wins that fight if he could withstand that.
Right.
If there was like 10 seconds left in the first, he would have won. He would have put him
Yeah,
out too.
yeah. That was a great fight, and shout out to Dustin Poirier taking out Michael
Great
Chandler.
fight too.
That was
That's the one fight I watched that at WrestlePro with Kevin Matthews right after that, and he was streaming that. I got to watch that one, and then you gave me the stream for the Adesanya fight. I was in line at a fast food joint at like 12:30. I was like, well, if I'm in line, I'm waiting with a bunch of drunks in front of me. I might as well just watch this fucking main event. So I did, and great. You know, it was great to see it. And shout out to Frankie Edgar though.
Yeah,
kind of figured.
Shout out to Gutierrez. Let's give that guy.
Shout out to Frankie Edgar for a phenomenal career, man. That's my guy, man. That is New Jersey's own Frankie Edgar. Calls it a career after that.
Terrible.
I don't know if it's over though.
No,
I
it's
don't
definitely
know,
over, bro. Come on.
No Bellator action. None of that shit.
No, absolutely not. I'm not here to talk shit on Frankie. I've done enough of that throughout his career. For somebody that
you never liked Frankie,
I do like Frankie. I just have always been up against somebody, i.e., Tommy, or somebody else that I've been in a podcast with or in a conversation with that was always so pro Frankie, and I thought for the wrong reasons. I don't
for Jersey. I mean,
yeah, but it's like, oh, I know Frankie's cousin's brother's nephew who trained with a
whoa,
buddy of
relax.
mine.
I am friends with Frankie's cousin. All right,
Well,
it's Christian Medina, bro.
Fair point. It has zero bearing on any of it. If he's going up against a guy that I like better, I'm rooting against him, and that's how it's always gone. I give Frankie credit for taking this fight in some ways, but it's a very stupid fight to take. This kid he's up and coming. Probably the most. I think what the UFC was doing was trying to finally build this kid a little bit. He's on an 8-fight win streak. Way big for the division.
He lost to a Jersey City guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a local guy.
Mike.
They kind of passed the torch. He's a very Frankie Edgar like in terms of has to scrap to get the credit he deserves, like Frankie did early in his career. This guy, I think he's on his way up. Frankie, happy trails. Right. It was nice. It was fun.
UFC, pretty good. What do they got next month? Is it a big one to end the year? They have something big December? I don't even know.
I think that's supposed to be what was going to be the John Jones.
Yeah,
but that's never going to go off the ground.
Now it's not good. I think it's Moreno against what the fuck? It's the fourth time they've fought.
Really?
Yeah, Moreno.
Jesus Christ.
Figueiredo. I think that's the headline of the next card.
Oh, my balls is hot is going next. Actually, he's going to be at the UFC Apex coming up.
Fury versus Glover 2.
No, I'm looking at T-Mobile Arena. Yes, Teixeira's in the main event.
Is that also the co-main? Is that going to be the Moreno and
no Patty? Oh, Patty Batty's on that card, and Blankovich and Ankalev. Is that one of Khabib's guys? Yeah, Magomed Ankalev. And Kalev. I don't fucking
know. Just because he's Russian doesn't mean that he's Khabib.
He looks just like a Khabib guy. They all look the same.
That is quite possible that he does look like a Khabib guy. Doesn't mean that he trained.
Robbie Lawler back from the dead. He's going to be fighting on this card too.
How old is he?
OSP's on this card, so this is not a bad card. I mean, I know OSP's kind of fell off the ranks,
yeah,
but
it's not the best.
Gustafsson is going against OSP. But anyway,
what was his name?
Did I say that wrong?
Esophagus, I think he said.
Whatever. Who gives a shit? Anyway,
that is good.
Get off my balls right now because I've had a day in the morning already. But let's get into it. Before we do that, I do want to let everybody know that this show is being brought to you in part by our friends over at Richard Lucas Chevrolet in Subaru over in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Go check those guys out. George is selling the Chevys. My boy Artie over there selling the Chevys. And then, of course, my one of my best friends, Greg, manager over at Subaru right now, hooked up Scoop, our very own Scoop Espo with his brand new, whatever the hell he bought over there at Subaru. So shout out to those guys. Our friends over at the Pickett app. If you want to track your bets, which, by the way, I did very well listening to the Sauce over the weekend. I had myself a nice Saturday. I had myself a nice Sunday as far as betting is concerned. I'm up my bitch units, which is, I think I'm up like 13 now. So I went from all the way down to climbed all the way back up. The only way you can track that, well, my way of tracking that is the Pickett app. Go download that right now. And, of course, our friends down the halls over at Lowell's. Give those girls a shout. They're making a lot of our merchandise. They just hooked up Tommy over the weekend with a brand new Chop Sports Fight Factory hoodie. Those boys did a great job covering that event. We had a great time over there on Saturday. That's where my voice went. I think it went in the first match, to be honest with you. I screamed for that
I
announcement.
thought it went for the intro.
That's what I'm saying. That was it. After that, I did commentary the entire night, like raspy. And I'm like, man, this sucks. And then, of course, my Sunday happened. And I guess we can get right into that, right? Usually we start on the local front. Why not skip that shit? We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about the Green Bay Packers beating the Dallas Cowboys. And I've said it 18 times this morning. Death, taxes, and Aaron Rodgers owning the Dallas Cowboys. That's straight up the way it is. It's always going to be that way. No matter how much time is left on the clock, no matter how many points they're down, Aaron Rodgers is going to shove it up our ass, and he's going to love every second of it, and he's going to say, relax and flex on him, and whoever the graphics guy is, Chris, you can actually fire yourself for that shit. The whole my dick thing with Aaron Jones, like, dude, all right, now breathe, reset. The Cowboys went in there 4.5-point favorites. I had the feeling on Friday.
The most
I always
disrespectful point spread now.
It really is, though. I mean, at this point, how can you ever going forward, as long as Aaron Rodgers has a fucking pulse, how can you bet against Aaron Rodgers against the Cowboys? It is ridiculous. He lost once against the Cowboys, and that was Dak's rookie phenom year.
8-2 all time. So he probably lost to Romo at one point.
I don't feel like I can't remember.
I know he's 8-2
I'll
against the Cowboys.
I
know that for a fact.
I know that for a fact too, but I just can't imagine. Dak did it in his rookie year, and he hasn't done it since. So yeah, I guess it had to be a Romo vehicle. I don't know. Whatever the case, the Cowboys went out there and they absolutely shit the bed in the fourth quarter. I can't, again, time and time again, I go to bat for Dak Prescott, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying that CD ran the wrong route. He went twice. Dalton Schultz.
There's only one person that said that, and it's unfortunate that he said that because it put CD out there, but it was Greg Olsen, and I completely disagree with him.
Well, if you watch the play, it is true. But my thing is this. If you notice, if you're an NFL quarterback, and I'm not, so I can't speak for that.
He's 6-3 against the Cowboys.
That can't be right.
Well, it is right.
It was 7-2.
I'm on StatMuse right now.
StatMuse could definitely be wrong.
Well, whatever the case.
They were 7-2 on the graphic I watched yesterday in the pregame, and then they won. So
I'll look somewhere else.
Chris, you're getting a lot of comments about your smile this morning. I think Chris found his
pleasant.
smile. That's good. You got Janine coming in there. You got friggin' Nick Shine was in here saying he's here just for that. So both of you guys can. But anyway, going back to the game itself. Again, Dak Prescott, I've been gone to bat for him time and time again. I've called him an average quarterback. I've called him a Pro Bowl quarterback. I've been so many times. I read a stat this morning, very alarming. His third and fourth down completion percentage was as low as one Tim Tebow. So if you look at him, he's one of the worst throwers of the football of all time. So that's not a fun stat. The recipe was simple, Chris. Run the football down the Cowboys' throats, and you're gonna be successful. Now at 28-14, I told my dad, I said, well, now they can't run. They can't, because remember I told you, like, if you established a run, that's great. But if you're down, you got to throw, right? And here, these words came out of my mouth. Ready for this? Just make Rodgers throw the ball. Those words came out of my mouth, man.
Rodgers had himself a nice
no
day
shit.
throwing the
And I'm
ball.
like, everybody's pinched in. Anthony Brown went out with a concussion. I call it hurt feelings because my man got torched by Christian Watson. And I'm like, okay, so he's out. So now it's our backup corner. He sucks. There's just, dude, it's just the recipe, the writing was on the wall for a long time. No matter how many points you score against Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, if you're the Dallas Cowboys. There was too much emotion going into this game for Mike McCarthy.
I think
he went in there saying, "Oh, it's my return."
A couple things happened in this game that were the difference to me, and one of them being that Dak was forcing throws in those two plays. Whether or not you say he ran the wrong route, I think it's more of a miscommunication. I don't think that there's one set route you're supposed to run. I think it's a bad read on either one or the other.
That's what I was just.
We don't know.
I was just going to say, as an NFL quarterback,
either way,
why still try to make that throw?
That ball doesn't need to be thrown in that spot.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, you can't make that throw in either case. I think the other thing that we could talk about, and the reason why the Packers had some success protecting Aaron Rodgers yesterday, was because Van Der Esch got hurt, and they had to move Micah Parsons from rushing the passer on most downs. He had to play traditional
He was MIA
linebacker
for the first time in a long time.
He had to play traditional linebacker, so it completely changed
coast to coast,
the game
himself.
plan, and it was allowing us to get a little more protection for Aaron Rodgers on the first and second downs, and they capitalized on the injury to the corner, not like he was doing much anyway. Got to give your props to Watson because he had 2 drops early in that game. Rodgers kept going to him, and he had the 3 touchdowns, but the one catch that he made on the third down was maybe the biggest catch that he made in the entire game because that kept the game. The game we don't win that game without it. Obviously, we don't win without the other 3 either, but tip your hat to their young kid. They gave him an opportunity. Now, hopefully, there's something to build off of. I'm not here to sit here and talk about how I think the Packers are going to save their season. I know what it is right now. 4-6 is 4-6. I'm not going to talk about the rest of the NFC or the 7th spot because it's still not within reach. We need help and we need to win out. So that I don't see that happening. I think the Packers got Philly next week or the week after.
No, it's Thursday Night Football. They got the Titans.
So Titans won 5 of their last 6. So don't look, but the Titans win some football games.
But what I will say is this. And there, like I said before, there was a lot of emotion going into this one on behalf of Mike McCarthy.
He's a bum.
Mike McCarthy, okay, comes in there and the story he got here at 9 o'clock in the morning to do his walk around Lambeau and blah blah blah, and then he hugs Aaron Rodgers like all that shit took the actual the wind out of the sail of the fucking football team. Okay,
so he went out and took Lambeau Field turf and put it in his
right,
pocket.
bro.
That shit
What
was
the
weird.
fuck are we doing?
McCarthy on camera.
Bro, I gotta save it. What? How about you save something for the last 10 fucking years when you were the coach there?
Weren't you there, bud?
That's what I'm saying, dude. He looked like a schmuck when he came in there with his pea coat and shit. Anyway, back to McCarthy for a second. Mike McCarthy showed aggression in the beginning. How many 4th and 1s did Dak quarterback sneak and get? A couple, right?
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I see the aggression here. The emotion is seething through. Mike McCarthy saying, fuck this. We're going for it. We're going to keep these drives alive. Overtime, Mike. You have a chance to put points on the board in overtime because you won the toss. Don't give me, and I know the analytics have already came at me already because I talked to my boy Aiden on Blogging the Boys.
Gotta kick that field goal.
Blogging the Boys, Aiden came out to me and said, not for nothing, but there was a 1% differential of percentage to win the game had you have kicked the field goal or not. No, I'm sorry. You're telling me that if you don't get that, you're going to give Rodgers an opportunity to just go down and get in the field goal range? Force this jerk off to throw a touchdown pass again.
Ooh,
force this guy to do something else than a kickoff. But I understand, Mike McCarthy, you need to be held accountable for this because you can't sit there and I got the balls of steel. You're not Brian Daboll. You're not trying to put this whole team on your back. You got too emotional in this game, and it came through the entire game. The decisions you made were based on emotion, not stupid analytics or even field presence. It was, I need to win this game so bad because I need LaFleur to feel like he's the inferior guy. It was all
the Cowboys
right
got the
there.
ball back. There was the 2-minute warning, and I looked over at my father and I said, I've honestly never been more confident in this situation than I am right now. And it wasn't because I didn't think Dak was good enough. It wasn't because of anything else. It was literally I feel like McCarthy's going to botch this somehow. It wasn't even him in the 2-minute thing. It was the offensive line failed, and they got pressure on those 2 plays.
Sure.
So you can't even blame Dak. He was getting hit as he threw both 2nd and 3rd down. Then you have to punt, right? So understood. Take it off Dak. It's really the O-line in that spot. But then later on in the overtime, you put yourself in field goal range. It's overtime. You give yourself a chance to put points on the board.
Against
you cannot
Aaron
kick that.
Fucking
you got
Rodgers. Yes.
Look, missing is no different than going for it.
8 yards.
So
8 yard
my
difference.
point is you kick the field goal because if you don't get the first down, it's equal. Getting 5 yards on fourth down or making a 50-yard field goal, I would say it's like the analytics are, what'd you say, dead even?
It's like a percent
on the
point
win.
off.
I don't know. Like, I think you're getting the 53-yard field goal is more converted than a 5-yard gain on fourth down.
In that spot.
Way more
1000%.
converted. No doubt. in my mind.
1000%. So
I
the
don't
fact
think
that McCarthy.
that doesn't mean that they won. Packers drove down and almost immediately they might have scored
No.
anyway.
Aaron
It
Rodgers
changes things.
Aaron Rodgers did what Aaron Rodgers does. And that's like everybody knew. Everybody in my living room knew it. Everybody knew that if Aaron Rodgers touched the ball in overtime, chances are we're going to lose the game. But at least if he would have touched the ball in overtime down 3, it would have at least forced you, Aaron, to throw a touchdown or run the ball or whatever the fuck you want to do. But the fact that you didn't even give him that chance, you just said, hey, listen, get to the 30 and we'll call this game. You know, and it just so happens that they run it down their throats. Dallas run defense is piss poor. It's been that way for weeks. They let Justin Fields do his thing. They 200 yards on the ground back-to-back weeks for the Cowboys. And now guess what? Thank God the schedule gets easier when it comes to running backs, right? Right, Cowboys? It's going to get easier. We only got Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, King Henry. It's all going to get easier now for this Dallas defense, man. Oh, I can't wait for this season to be fucking over already.
I can't wait for the next couple weeks.
I do have a question for you, Dave. So the Cowboys sit at 6-3 now. Okay.
Yeah.
Giants 7-2.
Sure.
Okay. You have the Vikings coming up.
Yeah.
The Giants,
Mhm.
the Eagles and the Titans back to back.
The Eagles again?
You have the Eagles again.
That
What do you
quick?
think is getting no? So you have Vikings, Giants, and then the Eagles, and then Titans. But like 2 weeks between the Giants and the Eagles game, though. Do you think they can
500?
catch the? Yeah. What do you think, dude? Because here's the Giants.
Do I think what? They catch the Eagles?
like?
They're not winning this division. There's no shot.
What do you think their record is after the next 4
Do you think they're
weeks?
going to make the playoffs? Because
They're going to make the playoffs.
They're
They can make the
not.
playoffs
Bro,
in their sleep.
You have
They
the
can.
Giants with easy.
Yeah, but there's
The Giants are already
teams.
in.
Like right now, the Niners are the 7th spot.
Right, and the Niners are 2 games
And
under
then-
500.
And then for them to get past, it would have to either be Washington or Green Bay at this point, or like Atlanta. There's no teams in the NFC.
That's
The
what I'm
It's
seventh-
not
so-
if they lose like 2 more games, though.
Listen, the Cowboys are
if
6-3.
Then the Commanders would have to win 2, and then the Packers would have to
But
win
hear it
those
out.
2 as well.
The Cowboys have 8
just to
games
even
left.
make it close.
The Cowboys have 8 games left. If they go 500, they'll be 10-7 and they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
they
think
got the Texans on the schedule. They got the Colts.
I
They
think
got
there's
the
a
Jaguars.
chance.
New look
I'm
Colts.
not trying to talk
New
about
look
this.
Colts.
I'm not trying to talk about this for the Packers getting in, but looking at the NFC playoff picture,
There's a shot.
there's a shot for an 8-win team to get in. Realistically, there's a shot. I'm not saying
As a
it's going to
7.
happen as a
Sure.
7 seed. Yeah.
Sure. But I don't know, man. It's just whenever the Cowboys lose, if you presented this to me on the surface, meaning like, hey, Dave, we're 10 weeks in, we're 9 games through, and the Cowboys are 6-3 with the following teams coming up on their schedule, I'd say, you know what? That looks pretty damn good. That looks pretty juicy. We got some winnable games out there. But when you blow a 14-point lead for the first time, ready for this? This is not a made-up stat. For the first time, the Dallas Cowboys blew a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter in the history of their organization. They've never done it. When they've had a 14 or more lead going into the fourth quarter, they are 195-0. And now they're 195-1. And why not be Aaron effing Rodgers to stick it to the man and stick it to the Cowboys, man? It is clockwork. It is just, like I said, it's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. Every time the Cowboys play the Packers going forward, and I said it last night out loud, and I said it on Twitter, and I said it everywhere I could say it. I said, I don't want to play Aaron Rodgers anymore for the rest of my life. For as long as I have
in the NFC Championship,
See you
buddy,
there,
in
buddy.
Dallas. No.
it's just
So Danny, real quick though, no Seattle. Seattle's first place. So
they're in the West. They get the 4.
They're out west. They are clearly
and
not
right now,
clearly.
ready for this?
49ers are on
If
their
the
heels.
playoffs
but
started right now, the Cowboys would be traveling to Seattle, and the Giants would go to Tampa Bay.
That's a terrible draw.
For both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to Seattle in a playoff game. That's
Dave,
We've been there. Remember? Snap, Romo, huh? What?
Do you have our records for this week?
Oh, I do. And there's a change of the guard, ladies and gentlemen. There's a change of the guard. In first place with the record of 70-75. You're looking at him, okay?
congrats.
Yes, I'm up 1 game now on Gooch, who is 69-76.
I'm actually the one who's up 1
And
game
Rob
on Dave, though,
is-
if you really think about it.
What do you
I'm the one who's up 1 game.
Oh, he's going there. He's going there.
Right?
He's going
Like,
there. That's
it's
fine. That's fine.
1-0
And
me.
Rob had himself another fantastic game. He had 9-2, Rob.
3 of these weeks.
And I tell you right now, ready for this?
Rob, you should have been betting because you didn't capitalize on it.
Yeah, I know.
Too bad
You
does
got to
not matter.
bet. I understand we want to invest in Mojo. That's wonderful, but go over to the Sauce
You
Network
fucking
and hit those bets
9-2, 9-2, 9-2.
Bro, you would have been up. You would have been had that MacBook.
And now
in
if
your
you go,
fucking
and
lap
now if you
right
go
now.
bet, you're gonna be like you'll go like 5-6 in the first week. Actual
Yeah,
betting.
he's gonna
and you'll be
bet
like,
it all
fuck.
and lose it all. But yeah, so we're all within. Ready for this? 2 games of each other heading into Monday night. So I got 70. He's got 69. Rob's got 68. So it is right there. And it's fun. So let's get into the rest of the slate, shall we? So now my Cowboys rant is out the way. It's getting hot in here finally, which is good because we were freezing our asses off before. So let's move into the Monday for the New York Football Giants. Now, they struggled a little bit. I'm not going to lie. They did. But when push came to shove, they got the job done. The Texans are awful at football. Okay. There's no way, shape, and form this should have been a game. The Giants should have won this game by 30. Okay. But the Giants, they had their struggles. They did what they did. They got the win. They're 7-2. Now, Saquon Barkley, again, right after this game, they asked him straight up, hey, where are we at on the contract talks? And he's like, well, we've decided to put this to bed until the end of the year. You think that's a mistake?
Well, I think it's a mistake for the player, but
Yeah.
there's really it's hard for them to get a deal done with practice and things like that. But it shouldn't be on the player to even be involved. I think it's a mistake because the agent and the team, they should never stop talking. Negotiation should always be open. For the player's sake, they didn't give him that 5th-year option, right? Am I wrong about that? Like Barkley didn't get the option. Understandably so. He had all the injuries he was dealing with. But now at this point, I think he played himself into a spot where he could say, well, guess what? They can tag him, so the leverage sucks for the player. Unfortunately, that's probably going to happen.
If they tag him, that means they give big money to Danny Dimes.
And
Can't use it because no 2 tags. There's only 1.
Well, I know they're not tagging Daniel Jones. They're not paying him that much.
$30 million.
They're not going to pay him 30 plus for a season. It's not worth it. They're better off just giving him 65 million for 2 at that point.
Well, in any event, the New York Giants get themselves a win and put themselves in a position to do more work next week with the Detroit Lions. So again, we're going to be going into Thanksgiving. The Cowboys have got the Minnesota Vikings next week, which, by the way, if Sauce is here, I know Sean Redden's here of the Sauce Network, and I saw Scoop before, and you're here. Riddle me this, bookies. Why the Cowboys favored by 2 on the road in Minnesota? Where are you getting that stat? Where are you seeing that? Because I know it was somebody said it was 1.5 first, then it moved to 2. So it's like, what? Am I missing something here? Like, is Cousins out? Is Dalvin banged up again? I don't know, but we'll get into that game next because I don't know about anybody else, maybe everybody in the room, but if anybody watched that game through and through, the Vikings and the Bills, it might have been one of the best games I've watched in a very, very long time.
I watched the entire game up until 4:25, and I was like, all right.
And then we start scrambling. Where's the Cowboy game? It's not
then I was cursing that game because they kept on bouncing me from this app to that app to try and watch the Packers with no sound, which honestly, when I come to think about it, as soon as I started listening to Greg Olsen fucking make my ears bleed, I wish they would have just left the sound off the entire game on the NFL Network or the Sunday Ticket.
All right, here we go.
Wow. All right. So I'm wrong. I'm wrong. And Hawaii Mike came in because, he likes to do that. That's what he does. But the franchise tag for a quarterback next year because of the Deshaun Watson cap hit is $45 million for a quarterback.
Yeah,
to get.
so Daniel Jones
is either going to get a long-term deal or he's out of town. So we'll see. But this, all right. So hear me out. Sean Redden says it. Hear me out. The Vikings are 8-1 and stink. And we've been trying to say that about the Giants and the Vikings and the Eagles. Well, not so much the Eagles, but and here we are. The Vikings now are 8-1 after this unbelievable win. And shout out to all their social media teams. Who jumps the gun like that? Like the Bills' social media went out and said, game, set, match, right? They're going nuts. Crazy, and they had to go and delete the tweet because they're dorks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't typically like to delete tweets. If I leave them up there, I'll leave them up there. They're there. Like, unless it's like, hate crime or something like that, then I'll delete it. And I'll go back in time. It's like, well, that wasn't probably a good thing to say. Probably get locked up for that. But what I will say is this: when it comes to the Bills, bro, how do you had the yips? All you had to do is take it and lean forward a couple yards, and this game is over. And the fact that he dropped that ball and fumbled in the end zone, even the Vikings broadcast team didn't even know. They're like, oh, great, a safety. And they're like, wait a minute, we got the ball. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And obviously they go down, they kick another field goal, goes to overtime. Like, the whole game is crazy. And you said it on the Mojo Market Report, or maybe not. Yeah, I think you did. the Josh Allen. Like,
bro.
are you worried a little bit about his tendencies now to turn the ball over in a big spot?
Josh Allen's got 4 picks in the red zone in the last 2 weeks. He's got the fumble in the worst spot possible. So Josh Allen is not taking good care of the football. I don't know what the MVP odds are anymore, but if he's still first and Jalen Hurts is not, it's a shame. Or Mahomes, but I think Jalen Hurts right now should be leading the odds in terms of MVP. I think he's the clear on favorite right now. They haven't lost. The Chiefs have looked like they could be had here and there, and Mahomes obviously is having one of his best seasons.
Mahomes is plus 150. Jalen Hurts is now second. You want to hear something? Josh dropped to 4th. Who jumped him? Tua. How about
Good
that?
for Tua.
How about that,
Dude
dude?
doesn't lose.
Holy shit.
Crazy.
Even fucking Kirk Cousins is 7th. What the fuck? I mean, the odds are a little ridiculous. Kirk Cousins at 7 is plus 3,000.
Next to no chance whatsoever.
Where's Dak?
Think,
I don't see
but
Dak anywhere.
Bro.
I do see Micah Parsons at 17.
They have the worst.
Hey, now.
I think they have the worst. The Bills have the worst red zone offense in the NFL right now. I'm pretty sure it's like 31.
They haven't scored. Did you see that stat that they haven't scored a touchdown in like the second or third quarter or the third or fourth quarter in 3 weeks or some shit?
I have not seen that.
Like,
stat.
are we? The Bills is supposed to be the team to beat in the like going to the Super Bowl.
All they did was help the Jets. That's all.
The Jets are now in first place technically. So
No,
the
the Dolphins are.
Dolphins are by a half game.
The
Okay,
third place Buffalo Bills though.
but yeah, for real, what?
Yeah, just kind of gives you
10
insight
weeks
as to what's
in, we're
going on
talking
over
about
in the AFC right now. The Bills are in 3rd place, and they're like a 6th seed.
Yeah, man, it's insane. But anyway, great game, great catch. It's on the thumbnail of today's show. Like Stephon Diggs is just—he's unbelievable. I mean, I know they lost the game. but
Justin
he's
Jefferson had a great catch.
or was
too.
it Justin? Who's on the?
They've
the
got a good
thumbnail?
catch too, but
Justin Jefferson had the catch.
That's
Stephon
what's
Diggs is on the
about.
Bills.
But still,
Yes.
both of these guys are
Yeah, they both had
all
great
world
catches.
receivers.
So that was
It's
like the
incredible.
trade. Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
The Bills, the Vikings sent Stephon Diggs to the Bills for the 22nd pick in that draft. The Vikings used the 22nd pick and drafted Justin Jefferson. So it's like a fair, even trade.
because they couldn't get their hands on a Jalen Rager.
And honestly, when you think back, like the Bills should
Never
have
gonna
just,
let that one
the
go.
Bills should have just stayed pat, and they would have had Justin Jefferson on the first contract right now.
yeah.
Truth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in any event, great game again. Just unbelievable. Now the Vikings will host Dallas next week. 425. Tony Romo, Jim Nance. Hello, friends. All right, moving on. So the game in Munich, London. Shout out to the German fan or the fans in Germany. Just overall, just whoever traveled there, the Germany people that are the Germany people, the Germans that were there, the people, the natives of the country. It was incredible. They were singing, dancing, having a good time. I'm not one of these fans that like this international shit. I don't like it only because I think it takes away a home game for a team, and that's not fair. You want to make it an extra game? Make it that 17th game. You know what I mean? Like where you were, you know what I'm saying? Like something to that
Still
effect.
takes away a home game.
It does, right? Unless you make them, guess what? I'll bet you my bottom dollar that the NFL could promote a preseason game in England and it would still fill up and do whatever
They've done it in China with Peyton Manning and somebody else. A couple like
But that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like
yeah.
that kind of shit, it will sell no matter what.
Yeah, of course.
If they're bloodthirsty for football, they're gonna watch it regardless.
This is something
That's a
that's,
good
going to
point,
keep
dude.
on going down.
I know,
and
dude.
not
Next
only
time
is this
it's gonna be Paris.
not only is this going
Next
to
one's
keep
gonna be
on
Italy.
not only is this going to keep on going down, it's going to expand. They're going to be doing this a lot more. It's not if this is the beginning. This is just the beginning, and they're talking like a team in Mexico City in the NBA. Like there's going to be expansions all over internationally. You're going to
Jesus
start seeing it.
Right.
You know how hard that's going to be. To
Not to.
like, I saw that. I didn't want.
Yeah,
To you wanted.
There's some breaking news here. University of Virginia president just came out,
I know.
confirmed that 3 University of Virginia football players were killed in a shooting last night.
Was it 3 football players though?
It just says it. 3.
I don't know. I was reading the article and I didn't see that it was football players. It was a former football player that committed the crime, but he wasn't on the team anymore. He was a freshman in 2018 on the team.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh God. Anyway, sorry to derail that, and thoughts and prayers to everybody involved in that shit. That's just nuts.
Tom Brady's going through a divorce. So
What about what
you
is
see the FAX thing? Do you know the FAX thing? The Dolphins. You saw the breaking. They're going bankrupt, right? They're changing the thing. Him and Giselle, all that basically like 70% of their money is in that company, that FX, whatever. That's just
The
what
crypto.
bankrupt. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't
Is it a
think Tom
crypto
Brady's
company?
is stupid enough to put 70% of his fortune into
That
crypto.
was on Yahoo Finance, I believe.
Tom Brady is in fact undefeated since getting divorced.
Really?
Yep. So, guys out there, you want to succeed in life? Get rid of the woman. No, I'm
Look,
kidding.
they're in first
Crazy
place
that,
right
though.
now, and they're going to be in the playoffs. We'll see.
Scoop, you are a piece of shit. I'm not even gonna read that over the air.
Oh my god,
He is so bad, bro. He is so bad. Oh my god, I can't even get that airplay. But you're 3 players down.
He wrote that in? Did you read what he wrote before that?
No, he said,
All right, guys. Tom
All
Brady.
right, moving
Gino
on.
loses.
Terrible. Gino, yeah, man. Showed your colors there, bro. You showed your old Gino self a little bit. But it was a great game. Again, 9:30 in the morning, nothing better. Obviously, I know it's international. I don't like it, but if there was a game on the East Coast at 9:30, I would watch it too. You know what I'm saying? So a good wake up to football. I like it. All right, moving on.
He spelled humor with a U because you're from Canada.
Wait, I don't understand that. Is that real?
That is real.
It's a real thing?
Yes.
I just thought he had a typo.
I mean, that's true. In Canada,
They add letters?
Yes,
The Canadians add letters to words?
specifically
They really
to
do.
humor.
It's not like America came up with words, Dave.
I'm well aware, but what the fuck?
That is some. That
That's
was
rich.
light humor. That was light humor.
Holy shit. I really didn't know. There's a lot of things you learn here on the Chop Sports Show, okay? I'm learning geography, time zones, and now I'm learning that the Canadians are so whacked out of their minds, they're adding letters to words.
Jesus.
I think we may have taken the letter away from the word.
Just
It seems
because?
like a very American
American
thing.
thing,
It's
like, you
this is
can't
taking
have
me
all them
way
letters.
too
Give me that
long.
shit.
Yeah, but how are they saying it, though, is my point.
Couleur. Couleur. Humor. Am I right, Ash? French Canadian. Yeah,
They are, but I know.
absolutely, bro.
Humor.
Humor.
But what,
Oh, boy.
So
Fuck
they just
me.
hear us saying, like,
So, like, yeah, Ash is like, that's not how you say humor in French.
How do you
Just
say
so
humor
we're
in
clear,
French
that's
there, Frenchie?
humor in English with a French accent. Humor.
Why does anybody else just think Home Alone when you hear, like,
Oh,
French
and
talk?
he said we say the
Leche
same.
compétent.
He said we say the same, eh?
They're going in on Canada right now.
No, I
we
love-
blame
I
you
love
bitches for everything.
Mark
anyway.
Mark has been with us since the very beginning.
Mark is the man, by the way.
And he still
man.
throws extra letters in his words.
What a weirdo. Anyway, to the Sunday night football game, we had ourselves a doozy. And I felt like you for the last month and a half when you just like have to shut down the world after a loss. After the Cowboys lost, I did watch this game and I watched it thoroughly. I actually watched it, but like nothing was not compared to the Cowboys. Like Justin Herbert would throw a bad ball and I'm like, man, they would roast Dak for that shit. You know what I mean? Like a bad ball left and right. Jimmy G might have overthrown a receiver. I'm like, they would kill Dak on Twitter right now. Everything resulted into the Cowboys. But this game is big because the San Francisco 49ers get the big win here. Again, I told you about this last week. Justin Herbert just don't look right, man. And I understand he doesn't have his guys, right? Mike Anderson, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, right? Everett went out with an ankle injury. It was all him and Eckler. And outside of that, you know, I know what's this guy caught the touchdown, not Palmer, the other one. There was another, like a fourth receiver caught the touchdown, and they just look out of sorts. And now I understand that they lost this game on Sunday night and they put themselves behind the Chiefs 2 games now. But in my mind, it's going to be wild card or
Trying
bust.
to find Herbert's stat line.
Is the Chargers coach definitely on the hot seat now? Since
Yeah,
the
I
end
think
of the
so.
last since the
I don't
last
think
game
so.
last season, they messed up on whatever, like not going for it or not the timeout or something. This season does not look good. There's a lot of
No, man.
injuries.
I don't know.
It's rough.
I don't like the coach, but they're 5-4. You know, it's not like they're playing garbage football.
but it's playoffs or bust.
I mean,
right?
Cowboys are 6-3.
It is,
I think
it is
the
playoffs
year
or
is
bust.
over.
I think as it stands right now, they might be the 7th spot in the NFC, in the AFC. I have no clue though, so don't quote me on that. But they're right in the thick of things, and they haven't had their guys.
Oh, Ray
So-
Bailey coming in. This might be a sarcastic or maybe a real thing. Herbert leads the league in picks with the ball touched the receiver's hands first.
Yeah,
So a bunch of deflections.
And look,
shit.
I wanted to point out something. I know that the stats didn't really add up, the counting stats yesterday, but Justin
Yeah,
Herbert,
very true.
Justin Herbert's passing totals this year, yardage wise, right?
And we're through 9 games of football.
279, 334, 297, 340, 228, 238, 293, 245. He's throwing the ball fine. They're a top 5 passing offense in the league with no Keenan Allen, with Mike Williams in and out of the lineup. They haven't really had much of a running game to help him out.
Which is nuts because they have Eckler.
But Eckler's never really been the true running back. Like he's only had one really good season where he worked the between the tackles well. Like Austin Eckler's been the pass catching threat out of the backfield for most of his career. There's always been another guy that I thought would be better at handling the other work. Austin Eckler worked himself into a bigger role and he earned it. He had a great season last year, but he's not having a great year this year. So while do I think Justin Herbert is having a down year in terms of expectations? 100%. But considering everything he's been able to deal with this year, I think Justin Herbert's proving his worth in this league. They're 5-4. Why? One reason, Justin Herbert. That's the only reason. So they lost the game. The 49ers did enough to win. They really got control of the entire game, though, right? The Chargers were kind of controlling this football game until late. I think that's coaching.
Big story here. Big story about this game. Welcome back, Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did that come from? Like, bro, like all of a sudden, McCaffrey's on the sidelines more times than not, and now he's even fresher when he comes on the field, and he's looking great. But now you have a 1-2 punch. Holy shit.
I also think the 49ers need a little bit more time to get things figured out offensively. They expect everything. They're going to have – there's a lot of mouths to feed right now in San Francisco. George Kittle, afterthought, I think it was Sauce
a couple grabs
talking about it. Yeah, but when we're talking about getting everybody involved in Debo, and it kind of makes them less dynamic if Debo's not touching the ball.
Here's the thing.
Debo is a better player with the ball in his hands, to me, at this point in their careers than Christian McCaffrey. He's better, right? And they're taking touches from Debo and giving them to CMC. I'm not sure that's the plan here. Power football is what got the 49ers where they were. CMC is not power football. Debo is.
And so is Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
So listen, this is not a bad problem for the Niners. They got a lot of talent on that team. And if their Niners defense plays as well as they played yesterday, Bosa is a game wrecker at all times. Every time the guy's on the field, he's a game wrecker. They lose their cornerbacks and still do work. Make it make sense. The Niners right now are a threat in the NFC West.
Yeah, I think their defense is playing a lot worse down the last couple of weeks. I got to see a little bit more.
I mean, a win is a win.
I think, a win is a win. They got it. It is what it is. And I think the NFC West is shit. So they're probably going to win that division or be in the thick of it with Seattle. They play Seattle. They beat up on Seattle this year already. So that second game is going to be very telling to see how real Seattle is.
Seattle might have got knocked back to reality yesterday. We'll see.
Look,
we'll see. I'm just saying. We'll see.
Maybe not. We'll see, though.
Speaking of back to reality, we have Mr. Jeff Sunday. Jeff Saturday wins his first NFL game as a head coach, who was plucked out of Greenwich, Connecticut's ESPN studios over the weekend and was like, you can do this job. And I mean, look, I know this isn't a Rooney Rule thing, but there is a lot of guys on that sideline that deserve a shot to coach this team over Jeff Saturday. The fact that they just chose him out of nowhere. Jim Irsay is a functioning alcoholic, okay? This dude is hammered half the time. This is what?
He's not a functioning alcoholic. The guy's been in car accidents, and
so he's a non-functioning alcoholic.
He was definitely drunk during that press conference.
Yeah. So, but
wait. Was he drunk when he got in the car accident?
Yeah, he got DW.
All right, so he's like halfway drunk, halfway whatever. He sucks, and he shouldn't have made this decision. However, he did, and they won the game. Now, what's the testament to this is even worse. The decision to, yes, you get the win, right? And you got Edger and James making TikToks with the guy after the game, Victory Monday. Great. But what's to say about the Raiders, man? Holy shit. You can't get this win? You couldn't get this done, and then Derek Carr's an emotional mess after the game, dude, which I know you said was cringe. I respect it. I respect shit like that because I just think that's the passion coming through.
I think it's tone deaf and cringe all wrapped up into one to me. You got a guy that's making $45 million crying about how hard his job is. Now, I understand everybody that watches football doesn't need Derek Carr crying on stage for us to understand what these guys go through. If you're a football fan, you completely understand that it's a rough sport. It's violent. Boo-hoo. Stop throwing picks on third down. Stop, the problem is there. I understand the coach sucks, but bro, my heart does not bleed for Derek Carr making $45 million. Honestly, you have Caleb Williams waiting at USC. That's probably going to be the Raiders starter next season if he doesn't play better. So maybe he should be thinking about that. Now, I do like Derek Carr, and I know my buddy Joe is watching. He's heavily invested in Derek Carr rookie cards, so he does not want to hear what I'm about to say, but I think Derek Carr is going to be out in Vegas after this season.
Sell all your cards now, Joe. Sell them all.
I think because there's value in a trading Derek Carr. Somebody will take on that project. And I think Derek Carr is also
project.
He's had a bet. It is a project at this point because Derek Carr is on his 9th coordinator in like 10 years.
That's true.
It's not really fair to Derek Carr to say he doesn't that he's the reason, considering that the coaching staff I think is clearly inept there.
Coming in from Sean, how has Josh McDaniels not been fired yet? He just got outcoached by a guy who worked for ESPN 10 days ago and went 3-7 as a high school coach.
Look, yeah, and honestly,
Seriously, though.
I don't think that Jeff Saturday should be the head coach of any football team in the NFL, right? But at the same time, I don't think that means he's not going to do a good job. I think I think there's times when I'm watching the Packers and I'm like, it's really not that fucking hard. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what he's going to bring to the table here. The Colts, there's so much going wrong there that it's not hard to fix this when it's like, okay, let's look at what we got here. We have a really good offensive line. We have Jonathan Taylor. Our season's basically over. Let's just go in and rally the troops together. And I know I said this on the Mojo Report, but I think it rings true. If you want any indication is the style that Jeff Saturday is going to bring to the table in terms of what he's going to have the Colts do is, remember the sideline fight that he had with Peyton Manning where he's like, fucking run the fucking ball. I will run the ball. Jeff Saturday is going to run the football, play in, play out. They're going to get down low. He's going to run the football again. It's going to be 3rd and 10. They're going to run the football.
It's just like, I wish I was in the room for that
Jonathan
conversation.
Taylor, bye right now.
For like Ursay's conversation with Saturday, like just talking casually, like, man, we're going through it this year. I'm like, yeah, I know. I got to fire Frank Reich. And he's like, nah, I guess you got to do what you got to do. And then Ursay's like, man, I mean, Jeff, what are you doing Sunday? It's like
Not even that. Like
nothing. What are you doing? I don't know. You want to coach? I guess. I mean, what do you want to pay me? I don't know. What do you want? It's like, but what just happened here? You got Reggie waiting on the sidelines. You got all these old guys that have been having some coaching experience. Look, it's fun for now, but like wait until he gets out coached and outworked by somebody good. Josh McDaniels clearly ain't that dude, pal. You know what I mean? Like he is just not that guy. Josh McDaniels, I'll give it another, 48 hours before he could possibly be on the move back to fucking New England.
I don't know. I think they're going to let him ride the season out.
That sucks.
It would be a really
because
bad
here's
look.
the thing.
They had a mid-season coaching change last year. They're going to have another
Yeah.
mid-season coaching change this year.
But
That's just
But no,
that's
but
not
you
good.
but here's the thing. They
don't have
did a
Rich
full
Bisaccia to bring in town.
they did a
this week.
full reset, which by the way, you turned another ball over on special teams.
Well, he did.
What are we
but
doing?
Yeah,
I know.
Rodgers.
It's like Jesus Christ. But what I will say is this: with a guy like Jeff Saturday being hired, Gooch, do you think this is at all going to be a trend at all? Like, let's just get a former player,
No.
get these guys going,
No.
and then like give for the Gipper. You know what I mean?
I have no problem with Jeff Saturday. He's not hired as the head coach of the Colts. He's the interim head coach. It's a
what a
very
job
big,
to be in. He's in a win-win. If he
Yeah,
wins,
I
he
mean,
wins.
like-
if he loses, he wins. He's like, I tried.
you know. And not
gave
only
my
that,
all.
he tweeted like 3 hours before he was hired by the Colts that the Raiders really stink. And then he had to coach against the Raiders, and they couldn't even do nothing
the
with
best tweet of all time.
with the
What a
bulletin board
perfectly timed
material. They
tweet.
couldn't even do anything with it.
dude, that's listen.
You're hurting Joey right now. He's starting to feel it in the feelings. He's like, what's my quarterback? He's doing the TO. Another guy who
He'll
cried.
be all right. He'll be all right.
All right, moving on.
But TO, I mean,
Bears fans, how we feeling? Rube, how
T.O.,
we feeling?
we knew T.O. was a psychopath.
Yeah, that's true too. I know you're puffing your chest out, and you said you added me as soon as the Bears lost. You sent me a tweet, and you said, "What a great Bears loss!" And like you're seeing Justin Fields do his thing again on the ground. This time he's throwing Nicole Kmet. He's having himself a day, and they blow it. And the Detroit Lions win their second straight game. I don't even know the last time the Detroit Lions won back-to-back games. It's probably been forever. But what I will say is this: Justin Fields is starting to look as advertised.
Yeah.
And they wanted this guy for his ability to run and his ability to find the open receiver. And he did a bunch yesterday. So now I'm looking at this and I'm like, all right, they did lose the game. So they did improve their stock price right now as far as their draft status, right? Look, it's a consolation prize. You never, again, we went over this last week. You don't root for your team to lose, but if they do, it's like, all right, this is where we sit now. So going forward, Campbell's first road win. Wow. Going
Ever,
forward.
not this year, ever.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't win any games last year, really.
Yeah, they did.
Going forward, Justin Fields seems to be the guy. They got over $100 million to spend over the offseason. They got, whatchamacallit, they got the high draft pick, which is going to be a top 10 pick. You would assume the Bears are shit, right?
Yeah.
Do you spin it that same way? If you're a Bears guy, like you spin it like, all right, we got our quarterback. Now let's just get the pieces.
100% spin it that way. Look,
Okay.
Justin Fields looked really good. He doesn't really look great as a thrower yet, but there's definitely positive things to build off of. And I have to say this. If I'm giving these other guys like Zach Wilson, I'm giving the Trevor Lawrences of the world, I'm saying these guys are young. You almost have to give them a little bit more time because quarterback is the hardest position in football. At least we're seeing something out of Justin Fields that we're not seeing anything out of the other guys. So, I mean, I'll admit it if it turns out that I'm wrong about Justin Fields. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But I do agree wholeheartedly with this being a really good loss for the Bears. I think it's funny as a Packer fan that when the Packers are 3-6 or whatever, and it's like the wheels completely came off and we're miserable about it, and the Bears fans are excited. That's hilarious to me. And that's good football fan. That's good. All that is what makes the rivalry great, to me at least. But we talked about it last week. Like if the Packers would have lost Sunday, it would have sucked for reasons between me and you and having to eat shit in here on Monday morning and things like that. But my solace would have been, we're better in the draft now. And that does mean something because you see teams like the Bears, for example, who trade up tons of picks and mortgage their futures to move up in drafts to get certain guys.
Now they don't got to do that.
Moving up in drafts is important. Teams do it all the time with the Titans and the Eagles. You know, like you see this year in, year out. So the Bears knew the defense sucked. They just traded Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn away.
Yeah,
so,
but isn't that stuff that you can build the team around? Roquan Smith is,
yes,
you're losing despite of
Could
that.
they? Yes, but they're paying him a ton of money. And are they going to fix things in time? Are they going to be able to sign on the other offensive players? Are they going to be able to pay all these draft picks that they bring in?
Yeah.
If so, they're not going to be able to do it all at the same time.
Yeah, no, I get that part.
So they knew the Bears defense was bad. They just traded away all their parts. There was no shock that they came back on by a team that's been putting up points this season and building off of a win against Green Bay the week before. I think that being now where they have the same exact record, these two teams, right, with a loss. So now the Bears now jump the Lions in the draft. And Bears fans get to be excited about the fact that they have their quarterback of the future finally, right?
Yeah.
And you got to think that if there's one thing that the Bears know how to fix, it's a defense because they always have a good one. So I think the Bears are in the best spot they've been in my entire life.
Yeah.
Really. Like maybe not. They've been
to a Super Bowl.
They've won a Super Bowl when I was 3, but yeah, you get my point. Definitely in the last decade.
I always think we're the same age.
Definitely since the year they lost in the Super Bowl that year. I think the Bears outlook going forward, there's reason to be excited for Chicago Bears fans. There, I said it.
There you said it. It's official. It's on record. The Miami Dolphins, not much to say about this one. They stomp out the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns now officially today, according to the rules and the NFLPA and all this other shit, Deshaun Watson is allowed to return to practice today and will make a season debut next week. So be on the lookout for that. But it looks like, the wheels have come off their offense. They couldn't get shit going. Miami puts up a nice little number again. And again, the Dolphins right now sit at top of the AFC East at 7-3. Incredible seasons thus far for them. We just talked about Tua being in the MVP talk. It's a good season, man. And the coach, he just, he looks the part of that old school, like, I feel like he's in an 80s porn. Like every time you see those glasses, just like a weird look to him.
I feel like it's getting to the point now where like the team total over for the Dolphins is just auto bet the team total over until it doesn't hit. Just look, the last 3 weeks, they've smacked the team total over. I know Joe has been on it. My buddy Joe, the other break bud, he's won 3 weeks in a row. So I feel like that I'm just going to ride that with him until that doesn't win. And then even after that, I'm going to ride it again.
Jeff Wilson Jr., as Mike said, looks to be one of the bigger trades right now. He is a burst. He is a burst of speed for the Miami Dolphins running attack, which is already good going into this because of the fact that Tua can move around if he needs to. Then you got Jeff Wilson Jr. Then who the hell's the other guy? Off the top. Ryan Mostert scored again. So it's like that offense is just, it's clicking on every single cylinder. And it's just, I guess their worst part of that offense might be Gesicki, and even he caught a couple balls yesterday. So again, Dolphins are rolling 7-3, first place. Good for them. All right. Game that really, it's weird. You're watching Russell Wilson again try to be Houdini, and it doesn't work for this guy this year. It's not working out for him in Denver right now, and neither for this coach too. The Titans, as you mentioned before, they're on a roll right now. And there was packages in there for Malik and Tannehill yesterday. So a dual package thing. They get another win, and now they host the Packers, I think they might go to Lambeau, actually. I don't know. In any event, they got the
Packers had like 14 road games in a row. They better have 2 straight home ones now. Shit.
So Titans looking good, right?
Yeah, they don't look good offensively, but the Broncos defense, as much as they've gotten rid of Bradley Chubb, and their defense is still playing at a high level. So you can't take that away from them, but really, it's not really too hard to play at a high level against the Titans offense because they don't do much. they're completely okay with winning. I think they scored 17 points 3 straight weeks now at this point. 2 of them were a win. 17, 13.
This is a testament
Then
to
they
their
lost
defense.
They scored 17 on the Chiefs, correct? And then lost
Sure.
that game.
Yeah.
And then this week, 17-10 again. So outside the Chiefs game, which they had that game kind of in the bag up until late. I wouldn't say in the bag, but they were in control of that game up until late. The Titans just keep on winning football games somehow or another. And Ryan Tannehill just, for whatever
Shout out
reason,
to the coach.
one reason or
Vrabel.
another, just keeps on getting wins. The defense plays a physical style of football. Here they are. Here we come.
Yeah, here we go. Speaking of here we go, Steelers. Here we go. They got themselves another dub, and the Saints look like shit. The Saints season is a wrap. Any kind of hope that they had holding on to the fact that the NFC South was going to be bad, it doesn't matter because they just can't win a game. Seems like just their offense couldn't get going. And when you look at Kenny Pickett, a lot of bad decisions, but also a couple good ones. Bro, George Pickens is as advertised, man. That dude is a dog. He is an absolute guy. Absolute guy. Absolute.
He's an absolute guy.
He is.
He's
a man. He's a male. But he's great. He's great at football, and he was in line. Remember when the rookie odds came out, he was up there with Pickett on one of the top guys. They all kind of predicted that Pickens would be good
head by now, but. The Saints are a bad football team. The Steelers are also a bad football team, but they got the resurgence coming back with TJ Watt. Minka Fitzpatrick had appendicitis, so he did not play in this game. I think he'll be back in a week or two. So
remember when we started picking this game last week, we all started to go with the Saints, then found
we
out
all
TJ
switched
Watt
up
was
TJ
back,
Watt,
and we were
game
like,
wrecker. Oh, by the way,
mind.
right before this game, there was an announcement that Minka Fitzpatrick blew his appendix out. What?
Was he not just sitting here with us?
I said that maybe
like
5 seconds
4
ago.
seconds before you said it. Like Chris said it. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
she
by
has
the
that on
way.
video right now. Like literally like 3 seconds before you said that. He's like, wait a minute.
Craziness.
What a day.
Did anybody
today,
hear about
guys.
that?
Are you kidding me, bro?
Did anybody hear about what happened with Minka?
You kidding?
Is he like out now? What's the deal with that anyway?
Yeah, I don't know. Breaking news: he brushed his appendix.
Yeah,
So
so
what kind of injury is that?
with this loss right
like
here,
4 to 6 weeks, bro.
Really?
No bullshit. Yeah, bro. You just busted a fucking
maybe.
whatever the appendix is. It busted.
But the Saints now
Back
are
to the
sitting,
human
the
anatomy. I have
Saints
no
right
idea
now
what
are
that even
sitting
is.
at the 4th pick in the draft, which means the Eagles are sitting at the 4th pick.
That's crazy.
Ugh.
man.
4th.
Jesus Christ. No way. Oh, God. Get it back. Can we just redo? Can we reset the game? Anyway, Chiefs, they stomp out the Jaguars. This one wasn't even a competitive game at all until the end. A little garbage time for the Jaguars. But Patrick Mahomes, still that dude. 4 touchdown passes, finding every single member of this team at this point. And then you look at a team like the Chiefs who acquired Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Tony's like, hey, by the way, wasn't hurt. I just didn't want to play over there. And here he is making big plays, and he scores the touchdowns first as a Chief.
Yeah, Mecole Hardman didn't play, and Kadarius Toney stepped in. If you look at his stat line, it looks exactly like a Mecole Hardman stat line. Now, Juju is probably banged up, so we're going to see
There you go, Sam.
if Mecole Hardman's not back. We might get to see what Kadarius Toney's all about if he gets an actual bulk of the target share. Kansas City's that weird team where you could see a crazy week out of somebody, and then the next week they don't even barely play.
Right.
So I think it's all matchup-wise, but I know that the Chiefs were in on Kadarius Toney in the offseason. Patrick Mahomes said they were trying to trade for him.
I heard that.
So this is a guy that they were probably after even prior to that in the draft. He fits the Andy Reid system. They went after him. They finally got their hands on him. And I think Kadarius Toney is going to have himself a nice little career. Look, there was 20 career games that we spent with the Giants, maybe 25.
Yeah,
no
one
touchdowns. One fight, second game
Lost
with the
that
Chiefs.
fight, dog.
Second game with the Chiefs, he probably played like 30 snaps total. He's got a touchdown already. So
He's in my portfolio on Mojo.
Yeah, he's on my
As soon
watch
as he got
list.
traded, I got him.
Yeah.
But the story here, Pat Mahomes is a stud. The
Wait,
Chiefs,
is that true? Hold on. Go back
the
to
Chiefs defense
go back
can
to the
still be
chat real
had
quick.
at points.
NFLPA calling MetLife and a few other stadiums to change their turf immediately.
They are though. That I saw that they're trying to get away from.
Yeah,
it.
they're
Wow.
calling for it. It's not like
Yeah.
this is not the NFL saying, "Hey guys, you have to do that." This is the NFL Players Association making
Like,
a
hey,
stand,
we want our
saying,
ACLs
like, we
back.
want our
That's the truth. I mean, think about it.
Should all be on grass, to be honest, dude.
I mean, look,
100%.
it's football, baby. Like it should be on grass. Come on. What are we doing here? This ain't arena, you know? And look, we've been
saves
playing on
money,
AstroTurf
it
since
saves
the
money.
fucking Saints are in
That's
the
all it is. It
Astrodome.
saves money because you have indoor stadiums that
Now you got to water the grass.
you have to worry about getting
It's not,
sunlight. on.
man. It's like you can't let you can't let the high school kids play on it the night before, things like that. That ruins your grass. You can't do events on the grass. Is the problem.
It's the specific type of turf, not turf. I know it's the ones with the beads in it, right? It's the playing turf, right? It's the ones that like your foot gets completely stuck if you're going in one way. If it's grass and it's not hard grass and it's not like a cold weather game,
they could use the
your leg can slip out and be all right.
Green Bay has grass and there's like a thing on YouTube, it's like 15 minutes.
And then you
long.
see CeeDee Lamb actually fucking plays receiver.
Yeah.
But they have lines built under like the,
Well, you see that when it's
Green Bay has a different situation because it
Where
gets
they
so
are.
cold there, so they have to have that. Not every team would have to spend all that money. That's like the most insane system that they built.
Well, think about it. Green Bay, Buffalo, not New York. Maybe I
Buffalo's
guess
getting a new stadium though.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, you would assume that they're leaving the elements. They said
Well, they should.
right, but I'm saying, do you think they're going to install this heating surface thing for their grass or whatever they're fucking putting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Do they have to alter their plans now? You know what I mean? Maybe they had something already ordered. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You're looking at me like, all right, well, it's the NFL, it's the Bills, they can change it.
They already ordered their grass. They're the fucking Bills. They just cancel the order and order new grass. Like if
Donate
they
it to a high school.
put it this way, how about teams that already have the grass installed? They're the turf installed. They already ordered it too, and they built it. Still have to change it.
Anywho, this game was a battle of the backup bitches because it was horrible, just horrible to watch. Cooper Kupp, dude, ankle injury, man, you're killing me, Smalls. And luckily, I got a couple wins in the bank right now, just could weather that storm. But Cooper Kupp goes down with an ankle injury. The Cardinals get a win here, a much needed win. But I'm looking at both of these teams. I don't see any future out of either of these teams this year at all. This is almost like a toilet bowl type situation where who gives a shit, because you're looking at the Rams and they can't move the ball with Walford. And then you got Colt McCoy, who's been in the league for 40 fucking years, and he's still out there slinging the rock out there. The game sucked. I mean, there's nothing much to talk about.
I mean, you got to tip your hat to Colt McCoy. When a guy gets a chance to play, he proves why he's still in the league, because he had the offense looking a lot better than Kyler's had the offense looking as of late. There wasn't any arguing on the sideline. Hopkins still got his looks, right? Would he have 10 catches yesterday?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say there's a quarterback controversy because they just signed that idiot to a long-term deal. But it was nice to see the Cardinals do something. I had Hopkins in a couple fantasy leagues, and he won me some matchups, so I'm happy about that. But the Rams suck. They suck bad. There's no reason to even really get too deep into this one. The Rams season is over, and it's even more over for Cooper Kupp owners, because I don't think that there's any reason why he should fight his way back into the lineup if he's dealing with anything significant whatsoever.
Agreed. Moving on. This game stunk. Oh, all right. So how about Monday Night Football? How about we get into that? How about the fact that we have one more game to play, and it's the Washington Commies taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, the line is exactly where it should be. The Eagles should absolutely beat the shit out of a bad Commanders team. This game's in Philadelphia. Again, what's stopping the Eagles right now outside of themselves making a couple mistakes? So I don't see this one being close. Can the Commanders keep it close? I don't know. How do you do that? I mean, you got Terry McLaurin out there, and I think Dotson's coming back to play. But I mean, look, me personally, I would love for the Redskins to win this game. I would absolutely love for them to get this done. 100%. Every single team, Giants, Cowboys fans will unite tonight and say, go Commanders. Okay. But like, again, I don't think it even comes close. I don't know, Gooch. You got this one? What do you got?
I'm going to take Washington in this one because the 11 points is a lot. And I'm not looking at any numbers in this right now. This isn't a cap at all. This is just based on the trends that the teams that are given double-digit points this year aren't covering. The games are all sloppy. Maybe Philly just decides to light them up because it's a division game. But even when Philly lights teams up, they take their foot off the gas in the second half. I could see the back door being open. Scary Terry. Taylor Heineke, he's a gamer. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy that's just going to let the game run out and then hand the ball off. He's going to keep on trying until the last second. That's what I see out of this one. So the back door could be open. I think Philly controls the game, no problem, though.
Yeah. All right. So you're taking the Commanders with the points? Yes.
I am. And I don't care about your dumbass stat, Sean. I like my stat better. But no, his is definitely more telling because it's actually the Eagles. So.
I mean, look. Personally, I'm gonna ride the Eagles here. I'm gonna go with the 11. I think that there's nothing in this world that makes me think that the Commanders can make this a game. And again, I would be love to be proven wrong. I just don't see it. Give me the Eagles. Give me like a 14-point win. In fact, because the Redskins are
and
just
no Chase Young again. They did announce I think he's been practicing
well
for the last couple weeks now, but
done.
But he's not ready. He's not ready.
Anyway, Rob, where are you going with this one?
Commanders all day. I honestly think they get the win tonight too.
What?
Yeah.
Based on what, Rob? Please inform me.
I don't like Jalen Hurts. I've been saying it every week.
I know. So what are we gonna do here? I say it every week too. I say it every week. I said the Eagles are frauds. They could be had. Blah blah blah. And like, so should I just continue to say it until it reigns true?
That's usually what happens. That's what bettors do, right? When you just keep hitting over until it stops hitting, right? I think Jalen Hurts comes back to reality. It's a division game. Do you know a division game?
I am well aware. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Get had. Monday night's only game on TV.
There's nothing, like I said, nothing more than I would love to do this. To turn off the TV and have Heineke be like the guest of honor, the post game guest guy in a Monday night wrap up show where he's talking about how he just slayed the undefeated Eagles. I would love that shit. I just don't see it. Not even close. Not even close. Chop Sports is loaded with, I don't know what the Jimmy's talking about. But anyway, Gooch is a wide receiver. What's happening? Am I missing the whole conversation?
Said Chop Sports is loaded with tight ends and because they're talking about what position people will play. And said Jimmy's like, well, I'm not a wide out. I'm a
Gooch is a wide receiver 3.
Dave and Chris would come in on 3rd and long. I saw that comment up top. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed today's show. Please like the video. We'll be back here on Friday. It's our first week of just doing a Monday and a Friday show. So for Sad Sturch and Victory Gooch, mine's not even bold. What did I do wrong here? Like I didn't bold my
sad Sturch.
Super sad Sturch, man. I want to thank everybody for watching the show, and of course, go on over to Mojo
lead blocker
on YouTube.
Aaron Rodgers, 1 lead block, springing for a big first
yeah. What a
down.
dick throwing his shoulder. He's an asshole. There's no reason you should be doing that as a quarterback.
Gamer.
Oh, now he's a gamer. He can't throw a fucking completion 2 weeks ago, but now he's a gamer. But anyway, please like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Couldn't throw an incompletion yesterday though.
That's very true. Could not. What? How many incompletions did he have?
Honestly,
3?
however many drops there were.
Right. No ball sailed. Is what
he
I
was
looked
like
for.
14 for 17, and like I was like, Christian Watson really had 3 drops already.
Yeah. Anyway, for Sturch and Gooch, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the sponsors, everybody that supports the show day in and day out and supports the brand, of course. Go check out. What do we do? Oh, he just did the whole my dick thing. He just did the whole my, and now I'm on my own. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Goodbye.
Spell
everybody.
humor one time for me.
Humor. I have no sense of humor.
It's you Friday.